December 14, 2018. Exactly 5 years ago today. A very obscure, very niche film with little to no cultural impact. Okay, who am I kidding? The punchline is so obvious. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, baby! I like this movie a little bit. I'm very normal, I assure you. Totally haven't rewatched it like 5 times this year, no sir. I am a humble fan. Honestly, what else do I even say? It's an incredible film. Its stylistic animation was game-changing, its storytelling was rich, its characters fun, its messages heartfelt, you name it. God, what a masterpiece. It's by far the best Sony animated movie, the best Spider-Man movie, and my favorite animated movie of all time, even beating out its own sequel. It's still 99% as good, guys, don't get me wrong, please don't leave, please! But yeah, point is, Into the Spider-Verse is amazing. But you don't need me to tell you that. People have been telling you that for 5 whole years since, it released. See, I'm approaching this from a very different angle today. I'm about to do what every modest video essayist does. Make everything about myself. So let's go back to 2018. I was basically an infant back then. There was no meaningful difference. Just listen to my voice.
What's a sequel so good it rivals Despacito 2?
That's enough helium to fill up the Hindenburg, and the fact that my channel crashed and burned when I moved away from surreal memes makes that comparison 10 times funnier. But anyway, Spider-Verse. My family decided to go to the movie because, well, Spider-Man. Everyone knows Spider-Man. Most people like him, even people who don't like spiders, or men for that matter. He's a universally beloved icon, so of course my comic brain dad took us eagerly. Even as a foolish, ignorant child, I was able to appreciate the film's charm and greatness. At the time, I distinctly remember telling my dad it was my 3rd favorite Spider-Man movie after Homecoming and Far From Home. Christ, he should have disowned me on the spot. Anyway, there was one specific scene in the movie that I'd like to draw attention to because it's a scene that speaks to me personally. That is, of course, the scene where Spider-Man fucking dies. Well, not exactly when he dies, but the aftermath of his death, where the citizens of New York are shown mourning their fallen hero. God damn, believe me when I tell you it was a real shocker. Nope, not you, get out, you're not in the movie. But despite the fact that I was taken aback by the bold choice on behalf of the filmmakers to kill Spider-Man, the childhood legend of multiple generations of people, I mostly just brushed over the scene that first time. Like, yeah, people mourn people when they die, nothing revolutionary there, thought 2018 Posey. I'm sure sometime, decades and decades from now, that'll happen to me. It happened to me 1 year later. 2019, my grandmother on my dad's side suddenly developed cancer. Yeah, that's right, we're maximizing the pity factor right away. Everyone feel bad for me and subscribe immediately. Please, I want 10K by the end of the year, please! Cope humor aside, it really messed with me. She passed away later during the same year on November 14. God, that number comes up multiple times apparently. And I was devastated. I just didn't know how to process it. How could someone so formative to my life, who I held so dear, who loved me so much, just be gone? And when that happened, whenever I went back to that same scene from Into the Spider-Verse, I suddenly came to realize I felt what Miles was feeling when he watched Spider-Man die. My gran was my hero, and she always will be. It was nice to be able to relate to him and understand some of his feelings, even if our circumstances were vastly different. To me, that made the scene where the city mourns Spider-Man far more powerful. It's already quite strong on its own, but it hits so much harder when you know how it feels to lose someone as good and pure as Peter Parker. I mean, really, that's just a name that exudes pure comfort and friendliness. My gran was from Scotland, so the same can't be said for hers, but nevertheless, you get the point. The scene had officially been recontextualized in my head because I felt that loss, but there was still something I couldn't relate to. I couldn't relate to the whole city coming together to mourn, because obviously my gran wasn't a public figure. She was on TV once for a yoga commercial, so who knows, maybe there is some niche fandom for her out there. But I do think Spider-Man slightly edges her out in that regard. Maybe just a tad. So anyway, 2019 Posey rewatched the scene and thought, well, of course, people mourn when a well-known influential figure in their community dies. I'm sure sometime decades and decades from now that'll happen to me. It was like 2.5 years that time, admittedly a little longer. Fate gave me a cooldown period, yay! So there's this Minecraft YouTuber named Technoblade, and do I even need to explain this in detail? I think I'll just get way too sad. You all know what happened. He was a legend, a beloved creator, but he too got cancer and passed away in 2022. I was devastated. I still remember exactly where I was when I found out. I was in the shower and had my phone whipped out to check some messages on Discord when I received an upload notification from Technoblade. My immediate urge was to check out what it was the moment I saw it because I never missed a Technoblade upload. Needless to say, my rising dopamine levels were not a fan of what happened next when I started reading the comments to see what it was about. I remember where I was when I heard about my grand's death too. I was animating something in Minimator when my parents came into my office and broke the news. I was inconsolable, as I was in 2022 when I got out of that shower. I don't even remember if I finished it, to be honest with you. That might have been a permanent hit to my hygiene. Either way, I just went to my parents and I started fucking sobbing because my favorite YouTuber, the person whose videos and streams I turned to in my darkest moments for comfort, and my greatest hero after my gran, was dead. But of course, life went on. There was nothing I could do. What ifs have always been the road to the devil, and I had to accept that both these people I cared about immensely weren't here anymore, but in a better place. I had to try anyway, and so I did. I tried so hard to just disassociate myself from both of them, because I thought I'd disassociate from my grief too. For a moment, it almost worked, at the expense of the joy I felt from remembering them. And then, when the release of Across the Spider-Verse crawled ever closer, I decided to go back to the first movie and watch it again in preparation. That time when I got to that scene, the one where the city mourned Spider-Man, I felt everything. I felt all the feelings it was meant to trigger, because I knew exactly what was going through the head of every single one of those New Yorkers when they found out about the tragedy. I knew because I was one of them. When I logged onto Twitter on June 30, 2022, I saw a whole community mourn. Thousands, even millions of people who had been impacted by Technoblade were all sharing those feelings. We were standing together not unlike the crowd of people with Spider-Man masks. It feels so dorky to be comparing myself and the rest of Techno's fans to the people in this movie, but maybe this time dorky is okay, because these personal experiences are exactly what makes the art we digest more meaningful. They're like nutrients, really. The D in vitamin D stands for depression. When I saw Peter Parker's memorial scene in 2018, I thought little of it, because I hadn't lost a hero yet. When I saw it in 2019, I placed myself in it just a tad, because I had lost a hero. And lastly, when I saw it in 2023, I placed myself in it in my entirety, because not only had I lost another hero, but I had seen that hero's loss impact so many other people. In a way, it's allowed me to appreciate the scene so much more. I never would have come to realize how expertly crafted and hard-hitting it is without having gone through the experiences I had to go through for it to feel as raw as it does. In that manner, life impacts art, but art also impacts life. At the end of Into the Spider-Verse, Miles Morales becomes Spider-Man. Yes, he's Spider-Man. Argue with the fucking wall. I am so tired of people who say otherwise. He becomes a hero in his own right. While he takes on the mantle, he customizes it to fit his own style and personality. He becomes a new hero, reminiscent of an old one, and just as inspirational. That gives me hope. It gives me hope that for every hero we lose in the real world, there are so many more still in the training stages, just waiting to spring into action against the bad guys. By the way, if any superpowered vigilantes are lending their ears, you should go after this really high-profile villain with a last name rhyming with Tusk. Thanks. Peter Parker, also known as Spider-Man, was a hero. Alex, also known as Technoblade, was a hero. My gran, whose name I'm definitely not revealing without my family's permission, was a hero. All three of them were mourned, at different scales, but with just as much grief in the tears of those affected. But the world goes on, and while all three may have ascended to the afterlife to inspire millions more, along with every other legend we've lost to time, an astronomically greater amount of potential heroes will be born in their wake. Miles Morales, also known as Spider-Man, is a hero, and I want you all to know that you can be one too, even if it's not in the same way. I can be a hero too, and so can every last one of us. We don't need grand gestures, we just need to be kind and love the other good people around us, and if we do that much, we'll at least all be someone's hero. And isn't that what it's all about? Thanks for watching, everyone. This was a particularly important video for me to make, and I kinda just wanted to pour my heart out. I tried to add a bit of quirk to the writing, and I'll try to maintain that for my videos going forward. I have big plans for the future, so stay tuned. And just know that I hope you have a wonderful day. Keep on keeping on, folks, and remember to live the best lives you can. Oh, and do try to get me to 10,000 subs before 2024. We have 1 month left, so I want to see you really run my campaign here. I need no slackers. Get me to 10k subs, or I swear to God, the whole world will rue the day they wrong me. Anyway, peace.